Howdy, howdy, howdy. A good Monday evening to all of y'all. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome to episode 99. 99. Welcome to episode 99 of Cliff Notes Live. Man, I had no idea this would go on this long. So cool. So thank y'all for the support throughout. So with that in mind, let me start off with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV fans, but especially love all the folks that come out here and hang out with me on Monday night and those who watch on replay later. I know not everyone can be out here on Monday night. I get it absolutely. And so those of you who are watching it later, I don't want you to think that you aren't appreciated as well. Thanks to all of y'all. It means so much. It truly does. That cough, wait. Episode 99. I don't know if all of y'all know the history of this, but I got out of Big Brother and COVID hit and all of that. And I started doing this show. Nicole Anthony was doing a show and she said, "Oh, Cliff, you ought to do one." And so I went out to a little app and did some shows out there. I go back and watch some of those first episodes. I got to say I learned a little bit as I went along, but I did that for a little while and then eventually figured out I could do it and keep it posted on YouTube. It made it a lot easier for people to watch. And so, yeah, episode 99, I guess that means 52 weeks in a year. I'm just within a month or so of having 2 years solid of doing these shows, which, yeah, that's kind of, sure wouldn't have thought I was doing that when I got out of Big Brother, but I have a blast doing it. So a lot of it's due to y'all. So again, thank y'all so much. All right. Hope everyone is doing fantastic. Before we go into all kinds with Big Brother over, we still got reality TV. We got Halloween coming up. We got a little sports going on, scary movies and all kinds of stuff. So I figure we just talk about whatever y'all had in mind this evening. I always have a little cheat sheet with a few notes of my own I'll mention, but I'm kind of open to whatever y'all want to talk about as well. But before we do that, let me just do a big old shout out to Ma, Amanda Lowe, Brian Hostetler, Mark Taylor, Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Cindy, hey Cindy, Marilyn Sutherland, Paula Scar, Annie Berger, Keith Franken, Terry Thomas, Michelle Moore, Maureen Carroll. I recognize all of these. Cindy saying Rip TV Co. That's the original platform that I did those shows on. Just wasn't the most consumer friendly platform. We'll just leave it at that. But anyway, and Fred Benson. Fred, I didn't want to leave you. I just started talking before I even got to the very end. But yeah, started off on TV Co. Not a lot of folks watch it. Just easier to do it on YouTube. And have fun doing it. It's so much fun. I have a blast doing it. So welcome to all of y'all. Appreciate it. Amanda Lowe saying I donate. Thank you. For those of you who may not realize, I pinned up on the very top, and I know I've mentioned before on the show, I'm doing fundraisers for Give Kids the World Village over in Orlando, critically ill children that get to have an expense paid, just get away from all the stress and everything with their family for a week. It's just a cool environment. So I'm raising funds for them. Incredible organization. I'm not going to push you a lot, but I put the link as the very first comment in the comments. If you're able to do so and you enjoy Cliff Notes and all that, yeah, please consider donating. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the kids. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Now, while we're talking about that, before we start talking about all the other stuff, I will mention if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so, turning on your notifications. I got to say, last week, Wednesday night, picture life in the Hog household. We had Survivor on, which I do recaps of Survivor. So I watched the show, did a recap of Survivor. The challenge was on. I did a recap, watched it, did a recap of the challenge. And the Houston Astros were playing in a baseball game. So I recorded that, tried to stay off social media until later, watched that. It was a long night you would think I was inside the Big Brother house as late as I stayed up to see how my Astros did. They did pretty well. Yeah, the Astros are going to the World Series. I'm a little happy about that. We may talk about that later as well. But all of that's a tangent to the fact that I do recaps of a few different shows. So if you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you get the thumbs up while you're out there as well. You'll know as soon as I drop one of those things. Last Wednesday, I tried to drop those episodes as quick as I could. I don't think I got the challenge out until probably Thursday morning. There's a lot of stuff going on. And I still had the Amazing Race to watch, even though I'm not covering it. I got to watch the Amazing Race. I got to cheer on Derek and Claire, right? My Big Brother family. So yeah, it was a busy Wednesday, but it was so much fun watching all these. I have a blast between reality TV and sports. It's been a busy week. So, all right. There you go. So let's talk about a few things. First of all, I should have said this right off the bat. Happy Diwali Day to those of you of the Hindu persuasion and friends of that may be celebrating as well. I don't know a lot about Diwali. Apparently, it's a festival of lights. It has to do with Lord Rama defeating an enemy in the Hindu religion, and as he came back, everyone lit up the roads to celebrate. I just know that lots of lights, lots of sweets, treats, things like that. It's my kind of holiday. So yeah, I think it's a 5-day holiday. I believe tonight's the first night of it. That's the thing I always enjoyed about traveling around the world, was learning about so many different religions that I maybe didn't have as much exposure to when I was younger. I've traveled to India, and I learned as much as I could while I was over there. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East and learned as much as I could about Islam as well. I was always a little chap that while I was inside the Big Brother house, I requested a Quran just to kind of look through it and learn a little bit more while I was inside the house. And they wouldn't give it to me. That's what said. You got to bring in what you want to read. So whatever. But anyway, a little tangent. But happy Diwali Day to all of y'all. All right, a few comments before I go on with a few things I had. Terry Thomas is saying, "How about them Astros?" Yeah, how about them Astros? Now, for those of you who are maybe New York Yankees fans, I don't want to get y'all upset. So, but yeah, my Astros won 3 games against Seattle Mariners, won 4 games against the New York Yankees. They haven't lost in the playoffs yet. Now they're going to the World Series to play the Philadelphia Phillies, which is kind of exciting because I do know a few people in the reality TV world who are huge Philadelphia Phillies fans, primarily Nick Macarone from my season of Big Brother. Derek Frazier, Big D, is also from Philadelphia. Nick Wilson, who won Survivor. I don't remember what season Nick was on, but Nick was at the Survivor watch party a few weeks ago. So I talked to Nick. He's wearing his Phillies hat and had come down to watch to see Survivor, but also watch Philadelphia clinch their playoff spot while they're down here playing the Astros. So I'm gonna have to give all of them a hard time and tell them, say, well, I'm glad you're cheering for a team that got to the World Series, but the dream stops here because the Astros are going to the very end. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be fun watching those games. They've been intense games. They've been a lot of fun. All right, Julia Fortucci. I hope I pronounced Fortucci. Saying, "Are you in Niagara Falls? Welcome to our area." Yeah, well, that is Niagara Falls. So, yeah, but I'm not actually here. But I did put that up for a reason, and that is because on this day in history, I've got 1902, but for some reason I think it's 1901. It was before my time, so if I'm off by a year, forgive me. But somewhere right around the turn of the 20th century, into the 20th century, the first woman to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel did it. On this day, what was it, 121 years ago? Oh, what goes through people's minds? I mean, we've always had daredevils, right? From the very beginning. I'm sure I'm sure there are people on boats in the 1500s say, hey, watch this. I'm going to go out past the horizon and I'm not going to fall off either. That was probably Daredevil back then. But yeah, some this is before we had women's suffrage. Yeah, it really was a whole different era, obviously. And some women said, you know what? I may have a whole lot of stuff I'm dealing with at home, but I'm going to be a little bit of a risk taker. There's those guys going over the barrels. I can do it as well. She went over a barrel. I neglected to look up whether she survived or not. Not all of them have. There have been a lot of people didn't quite make it to the bottom. Well, they made it to the bottom of the falls. I think everyone who goes over the falls in a barrel probably makes it to the bottom. It's just the condition they're in when they get to the bottom that's the issue, right? How scary would that be? I sit here and look at this stuff, and I love the water. I love canoeing. I love rowing. I love kayaking, all of that. I think that's a little more extreme than I would want to deal with. Rushing water, I've done like whitewater rafting and things like that. I don't mind waves and everything, but when there's a big old drop at the end, yeah, I'll call that good and pull off way to the side before I get there. But yeah, I thought I'd put that up as a just a little this day in history. I mean, look at that. Can you picture saying, yeah, I'll go over that? I would maybe consider it, but you would have to put me in the biggest. My barrel would be about 20 feet wide, and it'd consist of about 10 foot of pillows on each side. That'd just be squeezed into the bottom or in the very middle of it. And even then, that sounds pretty horrible. But yeah, so Niagara Falls. I've never been to Niagara Falls. I've been to some other crazy falls down in South America and Venezuela, Angel Falls, and some places like that. But I've never gotten a chance to really go up and visit upstate New York, and I know there's falls in Canada as well. Part of Niagara. I'd like to. One of these days I will, but not quite yet. All right. Mark Taylor saying, do you think Tamara let Turbo down? Oh, challenge question. Let Turbo down with his relationship with Nani. I don't know that Tamara let Turbo down as much as Turbo let Tamara down. For those of you, first of all, sorry if I spoil anything. If you haven't seen the last episode of the challenge, I kind of already messed it up. So we'll just proceed full speed ahead. Turbo, I just can't figure this guy out. I would love to visit with him, maybe at some point outside where the TV cameras aren't going, and see, is this guy really who he portrays himself on TV, or is he just trying to push some kind of TV persona or something? Because he was the most just kind of bitter, sourpuss kind of guy inside this the challenge house. He didn't seem friendly to anyone. He was just trying to pick fights with everyone. And people try out for Survivor or for Big Brother, either one, and they say, I'm going to be the villain. I'm going to play the villain role, and that's what I'm going to do. And yet sometimes I don't think they really are as much a villain as they portray. And I've just wondered if Turbo was like that, because he got so many people alienated against him that when he ended up having to fight for his life, he and Tamara, everyone was helping the other side. Horatio and Olivia, I think, was who they were competing against. And everyone was helping them solve. It was like a match game like you play as a kid. Not everyone is helping them make the matches so they could win to make sure that Turbo went home. I got to say, I mean, the challenge has some really extreme challenges, right? Probably even more so than Big Brother. But there's still a social game element. And Turbo, either from just a little ignorance or just from just not caring, he just didn't play the social game very well at all, right? I wouldn't want to go up against him in a competition. I'd do it. Talk about risk takers. I'd go against Turbo. I'd call him out. That'd probably be the last thing I ever did, but I'd call him out. But having said that, from a social game, Turbo kind of ruined his own game at that point. I kind of felt bad for Tamara, because she was seeming to be more of a mediator, that maybe she wanted to try to smooth things over, be it with Nani or with Bananas or anyone in that house. And Turbo just wasn't having it. So I don't know. I didn't see a lot of people crying when Turbo went home. So yeah, there's a part of me that really hates it, because Turbo's a little bit like Devin in the challenge, where may not be my most favorite person in terms of the persona they play on TV, but I kind of enjoy watching them. And I kind of think if I was in the house, I'd have fun hanging with them, either poking them a little bit, see how much I could get them riled up, or just when the cameras are off, just hanging out and finding out who the real person is underneath that persona. I don't know, maybe that is real Turbo. I don't know, but yeah, I will say this: Turbo went home, which means Tommy and Sis survived another week. Cheered for my Big Brother family. I still don't know how far they make it, but every week they make it. Maybe an extra week that I hadn't predicted. So yeah, go Tommy, go Sis. Still cheering for the two of them. It's fun. 2 episodes in, it's already been quite a fun season. All right. Let me see what we got in here. Fred Benson saying, I've been collecting all the Cliff Notes videos in a playlist. Oh, thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I try to keep these all organized in my playlist and all of that, but Lord, there's a lot of videos out there. Well, I was talking to Sharon about this. Not my worry, but as many videos as are on YouTube, how big a server must they have somewhere? I'm sure it's spread out over all kinds of locations. How many terabytes, I don't know, what's after terabytes, quadribytes? How much storage, how many hard drives must YouTube have to store all this stuff? The great stuff that 20 million people view, the stuff that has just a couple of viewers, and you wonder how'd that thing even get filmed in the first place. I don't know, but I can only imagine how many hours of YouTube videos played on a daily basis that has to process through their networks and everything else. It has got to be phenomenal. But yeah, thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. I actually have a lot of the original TV Co episodes recorded. I need to figure out how to get them. I don't think it's that hard. It's just a matter of doing. I need to get them posted out here on YouTube. I'm a little scared too because it's like I said, the technical quality not quite where it needs to be. I always figure somewhere down the road, grandkids, great grandkids, whatever, they'll see some of these episodes and I don't know, they'll probably say, oh, great grandpa, that guy was a goofball. Wow, how are we related to him? I hope not. I hope they say, oh, that's pretty cool. He was on TV shows and things like that. But yeah, I need to get some of those earlier episodes posted as well. I used to do, and maybe I'll do this. We're coming up on next week, episode 100. Once we get to episode 100, I may go back and start telling a few travel stories because it's been a while. It was on a platform that didn't have as many viewers. But I had a lot of stories. Some of them I told in the house from my travels. There's a lot more I just told on TV Co episode. I may start doing that a little bit more because there's some interesting things I've done over the years. So yeah, we maybe will start doing a little bit more of that. All right, what else do we have on here? Chris AK Fitzbit. Who do you think is going to be on the Challenge Global Championship besides the winners from the US, UK, Australia, and Argentina? Well, isn't that interesting? Because JT was telling us that they were going to take the top 4 winners. And I'm glad you mentioned Argentina because I knew it was Australia, it was the UK, it was the US, and I just didn't know where the 4th one was going to come from, if it was going to be, Argentina, or it was going to be another English-speaking country, but Canada, New Zealand, South Africa. Could have easily been South Africa. But yeah, I don't know. I talked to Ben, was at the who then we give us a spoiler. I guess I've already. Ben was talking about getting ready to film the championship and everything, but I didn't ask him a lot of questions because I didn't want to put him in an awkward spot. He wouldn't have told me anyway. But yeah, you can't just have 4 people competing, right? You got to have runners up or something. A team that each champion heads up. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm really curious to find out, though. It was I enjoyed that season. I don't think it was as cutthroat as what we're seeing in the challenge right now. I just think a lot of the people that were on the CBS version as opposed to the MTV version would have gotten eaten up by the players on MTV's version of the challenge. It's just a little more extreme, but it was still fun to watch. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's going to be in the competition, and I'm hoping when they show it, I guess it's going to be on Paramount Plus, right? If so, I'll watch it. If I gotta go sign up for some extra something or other, maybe not so much, but I'm sure. I would think it'll be on Paramount. I'm sure it's going to be on Paramount Plus. So yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be cheering for the U.S. representatives, obviously. But I don't even know. I think they're probably filming it sometime later this year, into December, January. So they wouldn't do it over Christmas. So maybe starting in January, something like that, or maybe right before Christmas. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe they'll take some of the people from this challenge and bring them over as well. All right, Corey H saying, where can I watch the current season of the challenge? It's on MTV. And that channel that used to show music videos and stuff a long time ago. I found some, let's talk about YouTube. I found some YouTube videos of the early, like the first 2 weeks of MTV when they had VJs instead of DJs. And now Martha Quinn and I can't remember the other ones. There were a bunch of them on there. Yeah, but when I was in college, actually, I guess MTV started while I was in high school. And the idea they just played music 24 hours a day, I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. I remember they showed an entire The Who concert on MTV. And we had a whole bunch of people come over so we could watch a concert together. It was pretty wild. Then in college, our TVs were turned on to MTV in the dorm rooms 24 hours a day. So yeah, a whole different world. But anyway, now they have a little reality TV, a little bit. And you can watch it on MTV. It's on Wednesday nights. It's on at exactly the same time as the Survivor. So thank God for DVRs and recorded programs and all that. Because otherwise, how do you pick between the two of them? So yeah, you can watch on MTV. All right. Ma saying you have to have a guest next week. And Astros or Phillies. Well, Ma, you ought to know that right now. I'm Astros all the way. As far as having a guest next week, I thought about it. I really thought about it a lot. 100th episode seems like a perfect time to have guests. The problem is, though, it's Halloween. And there's people either out handing out candy or going to parties or going to collect candy. Uh, a lot of people are doing things on Monday nights or watching scary movies on TV and all that. And so I thought, well, I don't want to put pressure to get people on that maybe would just soon be out doing other stuff. I got to figure out a little bit. I'm going to be sitting here doing this show, and I can just imagine we may have the doorbell ringing, kids asking for candy and things like that, even while I'm doing the show. So we'll find out. Hey, maybe I can just bring in random kids to be guests. They'll just come in next to me. We'll talk about costumes. I'd love to do it, but I'm not going to do it because privacy and all. I'm sure there's a lot of parents who say, yeah, you're not going on some random person's TV show or YouTube show. I'm not doing that. So yeah, as much as I'd like to, I probably will not have a guest next week, but we'll do something else. I haven't figured it out yet. I got a week to go. I'm king of procrastinators. But we'll figure out something. But probably not guest. As far as the other part, yeah, it's got to be the Astros, right? All right, Cindy Hire saying Derek and Claire are still in it. Yeah, they are, and Claire's had a few rough episodes where she couldn't quite yodel. She couldn't quite put a Bugatti motorcycle together, but they're still there. They're still doing okay. Yeah, and for those of you who may not be aware, we're just sitting there throwing out these names. That's in the Amazing Race. Claire and Derek from Big Brother 23, but now they're doing the Amazing Race. They were in Italy last week. I think I said maybe last week they'd been in Germany. No, they were in Italy. The European countries, they just all kind of mixed together, right? Speaking of, today's National Bologna Day. Just throwing that out there for those of you who may be interested. But yeah, no, they're still hanging in there. They're still doing well. They had a challenge last week that was pretty funny. They had to carve a sculpture. Was it the Thinker? I can't from Rodin. I don't think it may have been something else. I think it was probably something else. But they had to carve a sculpture. And one of the contestants thought they actually had to carve the sculpture. And she said, I can't carve like that. Well, no, me neither. But it was just hard stone that was covered with soft stuff. And you just chip off and the outside stuff came off easy enough. But I thought that was pretty funny. Some of these challenges some of them are funny. I just go deliver stuff back and forth. Others a little more involved in terms of, carving and things like that. But being an actual sculpture, that would be a next level Amazing Race challenge, wouldn't it? But yeah, they're still doing well. And then last week they started off in Italy and they went down to Jordan, which what an interesting place. Out in the middle of nowhere. They said they filmed Star Wars there and some other shows and all of that. It was a Thinker by Rodin. All right. Well, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. I actually have a picture. Where's the original Thinker? Over in Europe somewhere, I think. But in Singapore, they've got a replica of the Thinker in one of the buildings that's right by a big bay that they've got there. And I had so much fun. I found that thing. And so I did all kinds of photos of me sitting there posing like the Thinker and trying to mimic the statue itself. So, yeah, I've never seen the original, but I saw another one. It's kind of cool. All right, thank you, Cindy. I just, for some reason, that seemed right, but I wasn't sure. But no, they were in Jordan. You're talking about being out in the middle of nowhere. And I've been some places like that in the Middle East as well. You've got the cities. I mean, Abu Dhabi and Dubai are just incredible cities. But you go 5 miles away from the main city, and it's just nothing but deserts and sand dunes as far as you can see. I know I was in Saudi Arabia one time, and just outside the city limits, we saw the signs for warning camel crossing. You got to be careful for that. I mean, I live here in Texas. We have to be careful not to hit deers that run out in the roads, things like that. I can only imagine hitting a camel wouldn't be fantastic for your car. Probably not great for the camel either. Yeah, and we would just be driving along and you'd see a little pack of camels, just not the cigarettes, the real things, just walking down the road or off on the side, crossing the road and everything, just wild feral camels, just doing whatever camels do out in the middle of the desert. What do they do? I don't know. I guess look for places to get a little drink every couple of weeks. All right, Mark's saying, what country is the challenge shot at? Well, it depends. The challenge that was filmed for CBS was filmed over in Australia, down in Australia, I guess is the proper term, right? It was filmed just in one country. They stayed there. But the challenge kind of goes every season. It's a different location. I know one year it was in Croatia, I think. It was in like a bomb shelter. It was just very Spartan. They had porta potties. It looked like a bomb shelter on the inside. There wasn't anything fancy at all. And then other seasons, it's filmed in Iceland. They did that a couple of seasons back. Just amazing scenery and everything else. I think this year it's filming in Argentina. The challenge on MTV, so it's filming in the same location as the CBS version. Probably TJ Lavin probably said, "All right, I'm not traveling a lot of places. We'll film CBS, then you bring in the other guys. We'll film in the same country." But they're at different locations. One of them's at a really fancy villa out in the middle of nowhere that's just beautiful. The other ones were in downtown Buenos Aires instead. But this season it's Argentina. But every year they go to a different location where they actually do their filming. And so almost 99% of it, I'm trying to think if there's ever been an indoor challenge. I don't think so. But so much of it involves the outdoors and scenery and everything. So it's cool they go to a different location every single year. All right, what do we have on here? Let's see. Cindy saying, my daughter bought a Big Brother mystery box from Give Kids the World Village. Oh, all right. And she got me and Ovi and Sam from Big Brother 21 and a couple of others. Good. Well, I'm glad. That kind of warms my heart. Thank you, Cindy. Tell your daughter thank you so much. Certainly appreciate the assistance with Give Kids the World, but thank you. I'm kind of glad my picture popped up in there. That's kind of cool. I can believe it. If you're an athlete, if you're on the Houston Astros or something, I guess baseball cards are still a thing, right? Man, if I'm on a baseball team, I'd be going down and buying every single trading card I could find with my picture in it. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, it's kind of neat sometimes that I see my name just or my picture pop up on some kind of little advertisement for Big Brother or something else. Sometimes it just catches me by surprise. I think about something else and I'll say like, oh, there I am. Wow, that's kind of interesting. So I'm glad to hear that, Cindy, and thank your daughter so much for it. That's cool. All right. Wyatt Garrett. Hey, Wyatt, saying going to see Easton Corbin, sorry, Friday at Billy Bob's, Texas. I tell him that you see more concerts in town. I follow him, and man, my friend, you see a lot of country music in town. Billy Bob's. I've been to Billy Bob's a few times. I'm ready to go back. I'm giving you a shout when he head that way because you know where all the performers are and everything. Yeah. I love country music. I just don't have enough hours in the day. But Billy Bob's is part of the stockyards up in Fort Worth. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, Dallas and Fort Worth are twin cities, but Dallas is very professional and hotty-toddy and all that. Fort Worth, their theme is where the West begins. And it's because that was kind of the cowboy city for a long time. That's where the stockyards were. A lot of the ranchers would drive their cattle into Fort Worth. They still have the stockyards there. More saloons, more dance halls, more boot stores. Billy Bob's, the world's largest honky tonk. They've got a rodeo arena inside Billy Bob's and all kinds of performers. It's been quite a few years since I've seen a performance inside Billy Bob's. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'd love to get back in there and just hang in the stockyards for a while. That'd be a lot of fun. I wear the hat, I wear the boots. When I'm in the stockyards, I blend right in. Not so much in other parts. I go out to LA. I never forget when I flew to LA for Big Brother, and I had my hat. I think I was wearing one hat. I had another one in the little hat box. It's an octagonal box, and I had someone. We weren't supposed to talk to anyone because it's not like I'm walking around and say, "Hey, I'm going to be on Big Brother." No, you got to stay completely quiet. But as I got on the plane, I had one woman look at my hat box, and she said, "Are you a professional musician?" I said, "Well, no. Why?" And she said, "Oh, I saw that box. I thought maybe you had like professional cymbals or tambourines or something in there." No, it's just a hat. But it makes me think, if you're a professional tambourinist, do you carry your tambourines in some special box? Probably so. I mean, you've got like Stradivarius violins that are worth millions and millions. Is there the same thing for tambourines? Is there some company over in Italy that makes tambourines and they say, if you don't use us, you're just a lightweight when it comes to tambourine players and things like that? Maybe. I don't know. But it's not me. So I'm not up on the latest and greatest for tambourine players around the world. But I don't even know how I got into that. I better just move on to a completely different topic. Michelle Moore saying, uh, can you do a dance tonight since you sang last week? Y'all are just pushing it. Y'all just gluttons for punishment, right? Just because it's a horror movie doesn't mean that you need to push a little more to get a little dancing. Yeah, nah, it'd be hard. I'd have to push the camera back to do it. So just give you a little bit of my disco. In the house, I certainly did. I had the I did the all kinds of that. We did the flash mob. Remember the corner, 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 corner. Trying to say it like Tommy Bracco did. Uh, I did a little twerking while I was in the house as well, which my family still cringes about. Didn't bother me. I had so much fun. Now, doing that flash mob with Tommy was tough because I wanted to try to at least stay a little bit in rhythm. And there were other people doing the same move. So if I wasn't in rhythm, I would kind of stand out. So I tried to really learn the steps, and I watch back, think, well, I'm maybe not the smoothest dancer. I'm not exactly ready for Broadway, but I had fun doing that. The rest of the time I was in the house, I was doing some of my celebration dancing inside the storage room, things like that. It was just me. And so I didn't have to keep up with anyone. I could keep my own rhythm in my head, and that's the way I like it the best. I gotta say, when I was playing Big Brother, and I don't remember that I really did the dance when I was banished. I was just so happy to stay in the house. But when I won the battle back and came back into the house, I know I went to the storage room and immediately did some dancing. And then a few hours later, when I won that HOH, that's all I could think about. I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, open up the doors so I can go inside and go to that storage room and do a little silly, crazy celebration dancing, because I'd seen so many seasons of Big Brother. And when you win HOH, you always go in there and you do your dancing and you're celebrating. Now, unfortunately, I think my dancing was pretty much just me at the time. I didn't really have my alliance built up yet. Nicole and I were starting to work together, but even then, it was she and I both thought, oh, yeah, one of us was going home that night. So we just can't. We really didn't campaign against each other, but y'all know what I mean. So I think it was just me. Now, later when Jessica won her HOH, I remember her and Kat and Nicole and myself all going in there, and we had quite the celebration. That was a great night. I was so happy to see Jessica win that because I knew I was safe, and I also knew that she was going to hopefully put up Jack and Mickey just like I had done, and she did. She had a little more success with the veto competition, so we got Jack out the door. That was a great week. That was a pretty good week. All right, Mark saying a Big Brother 24 got their remembrance box this week. It was neat. Yeah, I saw some of them opening them up. I think Indy got hers, and I think the Taylor opened hers up on camera. I saw Joseph maybe as well. I saw a few of them who did it. I gotta say this: when I got mine, we got some of my costumes, BB Comics and all that. Some of the costumes that they had this season seemed just a little fancier than the costumes we had. Indy had that punked hard costume, which I thought was pretty cool. They were dressed like roaches for OTEV, and so they had some pretty cool costumes. Just so you know, little inside scoop, I suppose. A lot of the costumes that they give us to wear, they're really not designed for long-term wear. They're just there for the competition and look good on TV. But you start looking, there's a lot of things that aren't actually stitched. They're glued together, patches and things like that. And not the fanciest of anything, but I didn't care. Just to see the boxes to put some of those things back on was pretty cool. I know I got back my Leah Lederhosen, which I'd worn on our Oktoberfest, the slip and slide. But those things were so nasty because of all the Crisco, the lard, whatever it was that we slid back and forth on. It took forever to get those things cleaned up. But somewhere in my remembrance box, I now have a pair of Lederhosen. So I got some cool stuff as well. But yeah, it's been fun watching the newest house guest getting to go back, open their stuff, and just have all the memories flooding back of, oh, I remember this comp, things like that. I've got my BB Comics, and I always want to wear it for y'all guys when I do this show. I would love to do it. The problem is my BB Comics shirt is green, and green with a green screen behind me just means you're just going to see a little floating head going around, and that's about all you're going to see. So it wouldn't work out quite well. But my BB Comics outfit and the actual comic itself, probably my two most treasured anythings that I got from the house. My key when I got in. But yeah, those are my most treasured possessions from my time inside Big Brother, I think. All right. Michelle Moore saying, are you going to dress up next week? I'm thinking about it. I do have a 9-to-5 job, so I've got to make sure that work's taken care of and all that. But yeah, as time allows, it'd be kind of fun, right? Yeah, so it's Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. So yeah, I think I may do it. Yeah, you may just have to wait and see. I'm not making any promises. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I'm thinking it through, and we'll do something special between 100th episode and being Halloween night and all that. You gotta do something a little different, right? So you just have to wait. All right, what else do we have on here? Chris is saying allegedly Amber, KC, and Ben are rumored to be on the global championship. Okay, I could see that. I mean, they've all won, right? I mean, Amber won a episode of the challenge, so did KC. So yeah, that could make sense. It's going to be interesting if we watch this global competition because we're only going to know 25% of the people, right? We may know one or two from some of the other countries' competitions, but probably not. Now, I did see that Australia's version of the challenge just kicked off, I want to say last week. And I went out to see if I could find it online, and I got to do a little more investigating to figure out how you can watch it. They don't make it easy to watch some of these shows from other countries. I don't know why not. If it's over in Australia, why do you care if someone here in the States is watching it? It doesn't seem like it's that big a deal, but apparently it is. Same with global TV up in Canada. I'm telling you, if I was Elon Musk, if I had just all kinds of money just floating around, I think I'd be starting me up a reality TV, worldwide television network, 24 hours, 7 days a week, nothing but reality TV shows from all over the world. I'd love to see what kind of reality shows they do in Europe or in Asia. I know some of the Japanese shows they have are pretty crazy. But yeah, it'd be fun just to have all the different countries, all the different continents represented and see how much reality TV stays the same from country to country, culture to culture, and how much is just completely different. And I know there's got to be some of that as well. So yeah, call me Elon. Let's set something. Or Mark Cuban. Anyone's got some dollars. We'll set up a little TV network and make it happen. Mark saying, congrats to Casey and her brother for coming back from COVID. Yes, for those of you who don't know, on the challenge, Casey and her brother were knocked out for COVID. Didn't think we were going to see them back. I still don't know exactly how they did it, considering that I don't think they were gone that long. To test positive and be back as quick as they were kind of caught me off guard, but I'm glad to see it. I mean, one, I'm going to cheer for Casey because she's big brother and all that, but I always picture she got this chance to bring her brother on board to compete in a reality show with her. And then for them to test positive and not be able to compete, that would have been rough. So I'm glad that he gets a chance to do it. I think his name's Kenny, right? I think so. I'm glad that he gets a chance to compete alongside Casey. I think Casey's in a great spot between Nani there and her brother being on the team with Casey. She's got some friends in the house. So we'll see. She's also going to be a target because she's such a great player, athletic and everything else. But yeah, I'm glad to see them back. All right, Cindy's saying dressing as a giant doll from Squid Games. Well, that's a pretty cool costume. As long as you're not too lifelike. You don't want a lot of little kids yelling, walking to you, and he's like, red light. And if they stop, you just, I don't know, what are you going to do? That's cool costume. When was Squid Games? Was Squid Games, I say everything merges together. It was, you get, it was it's within the last year and a half or so, right? I'm waiting for Squid Games 2 to come out. There's also a reality show that's going to be Squid Games with, 10,000 players or something, and somehow they're going to get down to a single person that's going to win like $10 million or something. I have a feeling there's going to be some brutal stuff. But no, that's pretty cool, Cindy. And maybe get a water gun. A water gun be pretty good. You get those kids will slow down if you start popping them with a little water here and there, right? I like that costume. That's pretty good. I got to be doing some thinking. I used to do a lot of, when I was younger, just like we all do. I spent a lot of time dressing up for Halloween. I'm going to talk more about it next week, probably. I figured I'd save a lot of the the younger stories, the haunted house stories, some of the things that I haven't told y'all yet. I'll save it for next week. That seems appropriate. Now, for those of you who didn't notice, I did post on my Instagram reminder and my reminder out here. We were talking about scary movies last week, and there's one that I left out, and I shouldn't have, because it's one of the scarier movies I've seen as an adult. If you haven't seen The Ring, check it out. Well, you're talking about gives you the heebie-jeebies. That's one of those that The Ring and Paranormal Activity are two recent movies I've seen that really got me thinking for a lot longer after I watched it, and just gave me the creepies. So yes, those are two I wouldn't have expected. I didn't know that much about either one of them, and maybe that's it. I went in kind of blind and not really too aware, open-minded to whatever it's going to be. They were both pretty scary. So there you go. There's my movie suggestions before we get into actual Halloween itself. The Ring and Paranormal Activity. All right, Chris is saying, were you contacted for the challenge? Well, if I was, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you, right? No, not contacted yet for the challenge. If they want to call me, there'll probably be some real comedic entertainment watching me go up against Fessy or Turbo in hall brawl or fighting over a piece of pipe or something like that. But you know what? I'd do it, and I would I'd make it a lot tougher than they think I'd make it. There may be some comedic entertainment just when they point out to the 5,000-foot mountain and say, yeah, Cliff, run on up there. And once you get up there, you're going to be safe. And I'm saying, all right, well, I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Yeah. No, I'd do it if they contacted me without hesitation. I'm not especially setting aside a schedule for my time to compete on the challenge just yet. When they call me, I'm in. But until then, I'll go on about my life and assume that maybe the calls aren't going to be coming quite as quick as maybe it'd be fun to do. But there we go. All right, Brian's saying, wonder who got COVID on Amazing Race. Yeah, there was a little teaser talking about this. Someone gets it. It's got to be so hard. I have people interacting everywhere, and it's still, it's still a dangerous thing. You don't want to get COVID, but at least it doesn't seem to be as bad as it was when all of this first started, right? But you still want to do as many precautions as you can. Can you believe that started in February 2020 or so for most of us in the States? So we're talking about 2.5 years that we've been fighting that stuff. 2020 was just the lost season, the lost year. Now it was great for watching Big Brother and just sitting inside the house, in my house, watching the live feeds. And we had Lion King that year, or the Tiger King that year. There was a lot of things to do and talk about, but I can't believe I spent an entire year with Sharon inside the house without going to restaurants or anything. That seems like so long ago, but yeah, this COVID is still hanging with us. Yeah, I don't know who's got it. Maybe it won't be longer than it was for Casey and her brother. We'll see, though. They're going to get left behind. No one wants to be on a plane with them, right? So that'd be a little tough. Mark saying, does Bananas have Devin and Tori in his pocket? I don't know. I've probably Tori, and if he's got Tori, then probably Devin. Devin and Bananas, this is a challenge again for those of you who may not be aware. Devin and Bananas, I think they're sharing a room together, which gives them a lot of time to whisper while they're laying there in bed and all that. They're vets. They're going to watch out for each other, especially since the very first episode, we had rookies already taking a shot at the vets. So at least for the time being, I'm sure they're going to work together. I don't know. I'm thinking, though, if you're in that house, once you get rid of all the kind of the lightweights and you're back to the people that you've played with season after season, I wouldn't want Bananas hanging around any longer than possible, right? I mean, he's too strategic. He's played this game. He's won 7 times, I think, in all the years. So I don't know. But yeah, for right now, I think you're right. I think he definitely has in his pocket, or at least an alliance between all of them. I don't know why one of those 3 would go after any one of the other 3, because they're all so strong and they're each other's meat shields, right? As long as Devin said, as long as Bananas is in here, he may be a bigger target than me, and vice versa. So yeah, I think they'll stick around for a while. I know MTV probably, and the producers of Challenge and TJ and all them, I'm sure they want him to stick around as long as possible. There was the last time Bananas competed, seems like he was only on the show for an episode or two and he was gone. And I'm sure they want him hanging around a little bit longer than that this time around. And I think they're going to get their wish. All right. Ma saying, have you seen the Jeffrey Dahmer special? I have not, Ma. And of all the shows that are out there, that may be the one that I don't watch because it just seems a little distasteful. And pardon the pun, right? I'm old enough. I remember Dahmer. I remember when he was caught and how disgusting it was when we heard about it at first. I've already heard the story on him. I don't want to watch. I don't think I want to watch it because, one, if they portray him as the least bit sympathetic or humanize him or anything else, I don't want to think about a person like that in anything but just the worst possible condemnation and judgmental terms. I don't want to feel any kind of sympathy for him whatsoever. And if that's not the case, if they show him to just be the absolute monster that I envision in my head, well, I already have that envisioned. I don't want to see that happening. I don't. There's just something about that. I think it's probably because it's a true story. If it was made up, a fictional account or something, then maybe I'd be more interested in it. But the real thing, yeah, I don't know. That may be one of those that has to just sit there for a while because it doesn't make me feel good. I would not be able to watch it as entertainment, knowing that there were real people who paid a price. What a price! So now there was a show. What was it? The Black Serpent. There was something on about a guy over in Bangkok. He and his girlfriend were kidnapping hitchhikers and things like that. And I watched that, and I gotta say it was very interesting. I think it was something the Something Serpent. That was very interesting. That was based on a true story as well. So maybe it's a similar type situation. But for some reason, that was from back in the 70s, and I just didn't seem as hitting as close to home. I don't know. I'm not putting Dahmer on my list of my must-see TV just yet. We'll hold that off a little bit. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. It sounds like it must be pretty good from a cinematography and acting and all that. Just I'll let that one sit and stew for a while. I don't feel like I could say anything with it. It just doesn't bring in puns into play when you're talking about cannibals and things like that. Yeah, it's just what's it? Give me Big Brother. I like watching the fighting, the backstabbing, betrayal. You don't have to actually be eating each other. That's a little beyond what I need to be watching in terms of my drama and chaos on TV. All right, what do we have on here? Brian saying binge watch the Mole in 2 days. Interesting gameplay. Yeah, thank you, Brian, for mentioning the Mole. I binged watched it too until I finally, Sharon and I got to the point we said it's not the kind of show. I mean, some shows, it may be 4:00 in the morning. It's like, oh, we got to finish it, right? But I don't want to finish. Let me say this too. No spoilers, please. Do not tell me spoilers because I don't know how it ends. There's other people who don't know how it ends, and you don't want spoilers on the Mole. For those of you who aren't aware, one person's a mole. They're sabotaging everyone else as they're trying to win money for the team. The last person that's left, besides the mole, wins all the money that's left and all that. Yeah, it's very interesting gameplay. I've watched up until the very last 2 episodes, and it was just getting late. And we said, no, we got to be able to pay attention so we can catch all the clues and figure out who the mole is. That's half the fun of watching this show, is seeing if you can figure out who the saboteur is. It's hard because everyone in this freaking cast is trying to make everyone else think that they're the mole so that because every episode you have to vote on who you think's the mole. And if you get it wrong, you possibly get evicted. It's a quiz you have to take and all. I feel like they're either wanting everyone to think that they're the mole so they vote the wrong way, or they're just not very smart in the way they're doing some of these challenges. Because there's times where I've watched someone say, well, there's no way they're the mole. I think they're just a complete. I don't be too judgmental. I shouldn't say it, but it makes it hard to figure out who's the mole and who's just not playing very well, or who doesn't understand strategy very well, or just very basic gameplay. So I don't know. I'm so lost. Every episode, I feel like I'm figuring someone else is the mole. It changes from episode to episode, which is probably what they want. But yeah, I've enjoyed it as well. It's been a lot of fun. The Chris is saying, is that a new show? No, it's actually an old show. It was on CBS. It's probably been 15 years or so now. Anderson Cooper was the host before he was doing before he got more serious with news and things like that, and his New Year's Eve with Andy Cohen and all that. But now Anderson Cooper was the host. I think there were 2 seasons. There may have been 3, but I know there were at least 2 seasons of it. I enjoyed it back then. I'm enjoying it now. It's hard, though, when they do it on Netflix, and I guess they dropped all the episodes at once, because then you have some people who've already watched the whole thing and know who the mole is, others who've just started it and don't have a clue. So it's hard to talk about the game with each other because no one, you don't want to spoil anything. Whereas in the old days where every week there was a new episode, well, no one could get too far ahead. And I guess back then it was a little bit before social media. I don't remember that there were a lot of spoilers out there about who the mole was and things like that. It's just a lot harder nowadays. But yeah, I like the mole. I'd have fun going on the mole. That's about my speed. I feel like I could betray people, and I feel I'm somewhat observant, so I could pay attention to other people. So yeah, I'd do the mole. That's a fun one. I'm sure they're going to do another season on Netflix. I have no doubt. Robin Cass casted the mole, the same one who cast my season of Big Brother. So yeah, I'm glad to see that they had so much success with it, just for her, if nothing else. Mark's saying favorite Halloween candy. Well, I'm a big fan of Reese's peanut butter cups, but it's got to be candy corn. I know some people can't stand candy corn. I'm pretty good with it. I'm all right with candy corn. I can eat my way through a bag of candy corn pretty quick. Red licorice isn't bad either. Reese's peanut butter. Well, you can. Pretty much anything is my go-to for Halloween candy. I really like the chocolate. So the problem is we buy these bags of Halloween candy to get ready for Halloween, and they sit here in the house for a month and a half or so. By the time Halloween gets here, I've already eaten half the bag at least. So yeah, the kids come up to our door. They may just get nickels because I've already eaten up the candy, and I'll just have to give them some loose change. Now we'll get them taken care of. But I got a lot. But yeah, I do like the candy corns just because you don't eat them except for Halloween, right? Pretty much. All right, Mark's saying funniest costume for Halloween when you were a kid. Funniest. Well, one season, one year, I know I dressed as my mom had dressed me as a clown one year. And so I still had a clown suit, but a little shorter than when I first wore it. But my family had made a trip to Universal Studios over in California. And while we were there, as a souvenir, my brother and I each got to buy a mask. And so I bought a Frankenstein mask. And so my costume was actually dressed as a clown, but instead of a clown face, I had on the Frankenstein mask instead. So I was Frankenstein the clown. And I went around and trick-or-treated and all that. And that was a cool one. I don't know. I'll give y'all some more costumes next week when we talk Halloween and all that. I had some interesting ones here and there. I dressed as Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show one year when I was in high school working at Six Flags Over Texas. For those of you who've seen Rocky Horror, that was a little interesting outfit to put on. I'll see if I can't pull up a picture. Maybe I'll post that here between now and next week, or I'll have it on the show itself. We'll see. But yeah, that was a fun costume. I was a little older when I did that one. All right, 756. Wow. I had all my cheat sheet targets, notes. We barely talked about any of them, but that's fine. That's what it's all about. I appreciate all the questions. For those, I think I got to a lot of them. If I missed them, sorry, guys. Here, let me say this. If there's ever a question that you ask, and because I'm reading, the comments are going too fast, or I just missed it or something, send it to me on a DM. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Send it out. Say, hey, Cliff, I watch a show, but I had a question and didn't get to it. I'll either answer you on the DM or I'll save it for next week's show. We'll talk about it then. So if you got questions that I just didn't quite get to, send it to me. We'll get you taken care of because that's what it's all about on this show, right? That's what I love so much about it is the interaction back and forth. So yeah, I haven't forgotten about you. Just give me a reminder. We'll get taken care of. All right, what else? We didn't talk about Survivor. Well, we lost Gio last week. I hated to see that. I kind of was cheering for the guy, but We'll talk more Survivor later, and I do the recap. So yeah, go out to that playlist, find the Survivor season 43 recaps, and you'll hear me talking all about Survivor and the challenge as well. So I got shows on both of them. All right, guys, it is 7:57. I think we'll go ahead and shut it down now. So I can get to a little dinner. We're supposed to have bad weather here in Houston, like hail and thunderstorms and everything else. So yeah, I make sure I'm prepared for that. I think I'm gonna watch the last 2 episodes of The Mole. So maybe I can't talk about it next week because there's gonna be people who haven't seen it yet. So we'll avoid that discussion. I'm not giving you any mole spoilers. I'm not gonna do that, guys. Y'all have a fantastic Monday. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Go Stros, unless you're a Phillies fan, and if you are, sorry about that, guys, but better luck next year. Now you have a fantastic week. Have a fantastic weekend. Next Monday, episode number 100, and it's Halloween night. That's gonna be fun. I can't think of no better way than to spend it with you and maybe yelling scary things to kids to come to the door. So I don't know. We'll find out. Y'all have a great one, guys. As I mentioned before, if you haven't already signed up, subscribe to my channel, please consider doing so. Turn on the notifications, hitting the thumbs up. All of those are always appreciated. Very first comment pinned to the top is my fundraiser. If you're able to do so, I appreciate the support. If not, that's fine. I appreciate all of y'all, guys. Thank you for the support. So let me just finish it up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality fans. And guys, those of you out here that support me week in, week out for almost 2 years, thank you. It means so much to me. It truly does. I just have fun. I have fun answering questions and everything else. So thank you, guys. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to Mondays nights. If it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be looking forward to Mondays that much. Y'all have a great one, guys. I will see y'all. Well, I'll be dropping episodes on the challenge and Survivor Wednesday night. But then I'll see y'all next Monday for Halloween as well. So I'll just say it a little early. Happy Halloween. Cheers, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. This is Halloween.